Alright, this is devlog number 1 for the untitled gun jumping game I'm making right now. I guess it's best to start off talking about maybe some of the goals behind this project, which I'm sure there'll be more as they come out, but for now, the main thing I want to focus on is organization and architecture of the project itself. So I'm trying to start using namespaces here, even though I think it'll be small enough that it won't actually benefit from them, just to get into the habit, and from that as well start some assemblies. So I started this, the Git repo was made 6 hours ago, and the inspiration for this came from, where are we? That's it there, here we go. This shotgun prefab I'd made, this was made for a separate project I made for university. It was just a last minute bit of pixel art that I'd done, excuse me, it was a last minute bit of development I'd done making the pixel art and the sound effects and the particle effects for the firing animation, as well as the script that shoots out bullets and stuff like that. And I noticed when I was using it in that project, I really enjoyed using it. I thought it sounded really cool, and I wanted to do something else with it. So that's developed into what I want to kind of make as just a little, initially like an infinite scrolling type game, where your main method and your only method of movement is shooting the shotgun. So you can like go jump yourself. And this is where I'm at so far. My process today began with the gun jumping. So I might jump into one of those scripts, and we need the look at me script as well. So a separate script for looking at the mouse, just to try and keep it a little bit more clean. The project I was working on before this for uni, by the time I finished making it, it was an absolute clusterfuck, and it was starting to get really aggravating. So I'm just trying to keep things separated. This part here, I honestly need to do more looking into how it's all working. I followed a few tutorials to getting a smooth look at the mouse button. In particular, I think I just need to refresh on the vector maths here. I think I understand that, but more so this line here, where I'm actually getting the float rotation angle. Learning more about this function and this function, and down here, just through debug, found that it was sort of mirrored. And I just had to apply a 90-degree offset, but that offset is a publicly available field. And this loads up next. The actual shotgun itself, this script here, most of it was already written before I started this. So this shoot gun function, it's pretty simple. I don't feel like I need to go too much into that. The main thing that was added was that when this recoil parent method, and all that does is it takes the opposite direction to what was fired, and that fire direction is just the normalized direction from here. So that's a static vector 3. We normalize that, and that's the fire direction. And then we can just get the inverse of that and push away. that's what gives us our jump effect. The only other thing I've done was, oh yeah, I added in some functions to check if the player was grounded. And that was because at this stage, the way I want to control movement is that you only get 2 shots because it's a double barrel shotgun and you can only reload when you're grounded. This started as a raycast, but I found, and you know, through the tutorials and videos I was following as well, found that wouldn't work as well for cases when you're on the edge of the platforms, and I wanted to make sure it's still reloaded no matter where you landed. So that's a box cast instead. This is just some debugging so I could make sure, you know, what's there and what's not. I've left that in just because I think it looks kind of cool when you jump for now. And the very last thing was the platform generator. So this was a really, really simple way I sort of thought up to start getting some kind of random generation in the levels. Where I would like to go next is that this, you know, infinitely scrolls up or infinitely scrolls down, or scrolls up and down to a point. Currently, this needs some work, but it does spawn. I just need to figure out some, I think, changing the parameters of how it spawns. It probably needs to be rewritten in a different way, and I might scrap it. But for now, I just create a rectangle, or a rect, which contains the space within the blue walls. And then spawn platforms just takes the number of platforms, which I've specified in the inspector. And for each one of those, it generates a new spawn point within the range of that rect, and then instantiates it. The one thing I did add, just to make sure that it tries to build a pathway that you can actually follow, is that the max Y increases each time you instantiate an object. Sorry, decreases each time you instantiate an object. So it starts at the top platform, and then the next one's limit is down, and then the next one's limit after that is down again. So that's where we're at now. The last thing I did before filming this was just added some physics materials to the walls. That was because I felt that when you hear all momentum, I wanted that to not be the case. As it stands, I think that's a good amount, and you can see that landing on the edge, that's still registered, and that's still gun. And when I come back down, you see it can't. Now I've landed, and shoot again. Cool. The next steps for this, I would like to figure out level generation first. I think that's going to be the most important thing, because this is a really simple game. I want to figure that out, and then I can move on to more artwork and more polishing things. But I think it's most important that I get the very basics down first. So I'm not sure when the next log will come in. This one is done Wednesday, the 8th of November at 11:27.